Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. Today's video is brought to you by Ru-Netic Energy, your favorite YouTuber. We're going to be talking about what happens when you don't follow gun safety rules. Now, for those of us who are responsible gun owners, we know how important it is to practice gun safety at all times. And one of the biggest things that we talk about is always keeping the gun pointed in the direction of least consequence. The reason why this is such an important rule is because we never want someone to get hurt. We never want someone to get shot. But accidents do happen. People do make mistakes. And so the question is, what happens if we do? What are the consequences of doing something like that? Is there anything that we can do to mitigate the damage after the fact? Well, let's go ahead and find out. Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. If you're new around here, I'm the Director of Content for a Concealed Carry Association. Now, if you've been watching the channel for any amount of time, you know that we always talk about practicing safety first. And really, we break down the rules of safe firearms handling. Number 1, we always keep the gun pointed in the direction of least, in the direction that we're aiming. Number 2, we keep our finger high and on the register until we've made a conscious decision to fire. And then number 3, we always keep firearms unloaded until they're in use. So these are really good rules that we need to follow all the time. We need to make sure that we follow them when we're at the range. We need to make sure that we follow them at home. And following these rules will help prevent accidents from happening. But accidents can still happen even though we're practicing safe firearms handling procedures. One of the most common causes of a firearms accident, a shooting accident, is when a gun is dropped or falls. And so that's kind of the scenario that we're looking at today. And what we're going to be looking at is what would happen if your gun fell from a shelf, or if your gun were to fall off of your person, or maybe you drop it while you're carrying. So we're going to look at kind of the various scenarios where the gun drops and just what happens. So right now we have 2 different guns sitting on the counter. We've got a revolver on the left-hand side, it's a .38 Special, and then we have a semi-automatic pistol on the right-hand side. It's a Glock 43, so both of these firearms are loaded. However, the Glock does have a magazine inserted, whereas the revolver does not. The only thing that's in the cylinder is the round in the chamber. So we're going to go ahead and demonstrate what would happen if each of these were to fall. Okay, so with the revolver, we're going to set it down on the counter. This is a pretty typical scenario. Maybe you have it sitting on the counter while you're getting ready to go somewhere, or maybe you're putting on your shoes or your boots, something like that. You reach down, grab the revolver, and as you bring it up, it slips out of your hands and falls to the floor. Well, obviously in this case, nothing happened because there was only a round in the chamber. There wasn't anything in the cylinder. But if you were to grab that revolver and that round in the cylinder were to be, under a live round of ammo, well then you could have some serious problems. With the semi-automatic pistol, it's a little bit different. In this case, we've got a magazine inserted, but we're going to demonstrate that it doesn't really matter if that magazine is inserted or not. First, we'll take the magazine out and we'll drop the gun. Again, another scenario where maybe you're reaching for your holster and it comes out of the holster. Maybe you're trying to put it on the counter and it slides off. Whatever the case may be, you drop the firearm. Well, again, nothing happened in this case. If this were to be loaded, well, then we could have a serious problem. So now, let's insert the magazine. Make sure everything is seated properly, and then we're going to drop the gun again. Well, you saw the slide come to the rear. That's because the gun actually fired. When the gun was dropped, it struck the trigger, and that caused the gun to discharge. So again, this is something that can happen if you drop your gun. So how do we mitigate the damage after something like this happens? Well, the first thing that we want to do is make sure that everybody is okay. So we want to look and make sure that nobody was hurt. Then we want to check to make sure that the firearm is secure. So we want to make sure that the gun is not moving, that it is in a safe place. Then we're going to want to assess the situation. So we're going to want to see exactly what has happened. In the case of the revolver, the only thing that you really have to do is make sure that the gun is in a safe location, and then you're going to want to pick it up, rotate the cylinder to the safe position, and then start to unload the cylinder. So you're going to want to remove each of the rounds, make sure that they are inert, they're not live ammo, and then once you've done that, you can return the gun to its, safe location. With the semi-automatic pistol, it's a little bit different because we have to worry about the magazine. So again, you're going to want to make sure that everyone is okay. You're going to want to make sure that the gun is secure, and then we're going to want to clear the gun. So with a semi-automatic pistol, the way that you would normally clear it is by pressing the magazine release, allowing the magazine to come free of the gun, and then you would pull the trigger to make sure that the chamber is empty. So you can either do that, or you can use the proper technique for your particular firearm. Some people will say, hey, you should rack the slide to make sure that the chamber is empty. Well, that depends on the gun. If you have a Glock, for example, with a firing pin block, well, then racking the slide will not actually clear the round in the chamber. So you might end up with a live round of ammo in the chamber. So racking the slide might not be the best idea. For other firearms, it's a great idea. So you want to make sure that you know how to clear your gun. And once you've cleared the gun, once you've verified that the gun is safe, then you can actually pick it up and then begin to assess the situation. So you want to look and see what's going on with your magazine. You want to look and see if the magazine is damaged. You'll notice that the magazine is actually completely intact. It hasn't been compromised, so we can just reinsert that magazine into the gun, and then we can actually function check the gun. So we can work the slide to make sure that everything is okay. And it looks like it is. Everything appears to be working properly. So at that point, we would call the range safety officers over. We would tell them what's going on. We'd tell them that we had an accidental discharge, and then we would allow the range safety officers to come over, assess the situation, and then give us further instructions. It's important to note that sometimes when guns are dropped, they can still be dangerous. One of the things that we have to worry about is the primer on the round that was dropped. So when the gun is dropped, that primer can actually be struck, and that can cause the round to be discharged. So we want to make sure that the range safety officers know about this. We want to make sure that we notify them so that they can come over and ensure that the range is safe. So again, we really want to follow the rules of safe firearms handling. We want to keep the gun pointed in the direction of least consequence. We want to keep our finger high and on the register until we've made a conscious decision to fire. And we want to make sure that we keep firearms unloaded until they're in use. Following these rules will help reduce the potential for an accident. But if an accident does happen, we want to make sure that we know what steps to take next. Thanks for watching all the way to the end of the video. I'm the Director of Content for a Concealed Carry Association. If you enjoy videos like this, please subscribe to this channel. We'll notify you every time something new comes out. Stay safe, and we'll see you in the next video. Hey guys, thanks for checking out the video. If you enjoyed this one, please feel free to give us a like. It really helps us out. Also, if you've been thinking about becoming a member of our channel, well, now is the perfect time to do it. Just click that link right there, check out the membership options, and then we'll see you in the next one. Thanks for stopping by.